Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Scholars Avenue. Today we have a very special guest with us today. She is a mentor to hundreds of students. She's loved by many. She is one of those, you could say, life of an institution that you could, if you could think about someone. So she's the kind of person that we could say is the life of NBS. We have with us today Dr. Asfia Obed. She is the HOD for Management and HR at the NAS Business School. And we will be talking to her today about her life, her experiences, her journey into academia, and also how she basically ended up here at NAST, and then thereafter, what her experience was like. Ma'am, thank you so much for being with us today. It's truly an honor to have you on our show. We'll start with your academic journey and to basically make our audiences understand what is your area of specialization and specifically in management studies and in HR. What is your area of specialization?
Thank you so much. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the kind words. So, my area, basic education, has been in business and management. In particular, my area is human resource management. And so, within that, obviously, there are sub-specialized areas, but primarily, I would broadly say it is human resource management.
All right. So in human resource management, let's talk about what inspired you to choose this field. How did you decide that you're going to be a professional in HR?
Okay, so I think early on I did not have I did not make a conscious decision to come into this field, but I think it was my inclination towards this area. I've always been interested in talking to people, in understanding people, in sort of always trying to understand the other perspective wali baat hai. So I think that's something which sort of aligns with the area that I've chosen, because this area is all about people, how they feel, what their perspectives are. So I guess gradually I sort of moved into this area.
So could you talk about your formal education? How did you go about it? Where did you basically?
Okay,
What's
so
your alma mater and where did you study?
all right, I started off in Islamabad, and it was in convent of Jesus and Mary. Then moved between Karachi and Islamabad. So primarily studied at the city school for a very long time. Then I had the opportunity to study abroad for a couple of years. So I did my high school from the US, then came back, then did my bachelor's in commerce. By that time, I had sort of decided that this is the area I want to go in. Traditionally, when I was doing a bachelor's, engineering and medicine, etc., were the areas, and it was generally deemed that somebody who doesn't get in there will come here. So the things have changed quite a lot now, alhamdulillah. But at that time, this is what the consideration was. But I think the couple of years that I had spent in the US, they, in their high school system, they have a lot of opportunities for students to explore all the different areas. So I had a taste of engineering, I had a taste of medicine, but I also had a taste of business education, accounting, business maths, etc., business management, etc. So I came back, did my bachelor's in commerce from Karachi Universities. There's an affiliate college of Karachi University, which is a very well-known college, Government College of Commerce and Economics. So, and then moved to Islamabad, did my master's from Quaid-e-Azam University, and then after a gap of I think about 8 years, then I went for my PhD. And PhD I did from University of Manchester Business School.
Well, let's talk about that. How did you decide that you want to be a PhD and you want to pursue a PhD?
Well, I think it was more out of necessity than a choice decision at that time. So I had my mentors when I started working here at NUST. So I had mentors, and they would always say that you have this spark, you must go PhD karni hai. And so I always thought that PhD is a huge task, and I tried my level best to somehow dodge it here and there. But they would always say that once you do this, there's a lot more in terms of opportunities and avenues that will open for you. And then again, this profession requires, so I realized that if I wanted to be in this profession, that I needed a PhD. And that was sort of a uh, decision which was initially kind of maybe a compulsion. Wherever I would go, all my mentors, seniors would say, you must enroll now, this is the year. And so finally I had to do it, and I did it.
Generally, I've seen कि perhaps this is just a ballpark figure. 90% of the PhDs, उनके mentors, उनके seniors होते हैं, वही उनको push करके ना, they're like, अब आप
Yes.
PhD कर लें, बहुत potential है ये वो.
Yeah.
And then when people get into it and when they complete it,
Yes.
then उनको नजर आता है कि फायदा है, obviously उनको
बिल्कुल,
होता है.
बिल्कुल.
However, generally लोग शुरू में थोड़े से hesitant होते ही हैं, and they're like, करें ना करें, but then other people just push you into it. So I've heard about this quite a few times to
Yes.
to understand. So what was the whole journey like, or your doctoral journey? How did you find it?
I think it's a long journey. It's a journey which requires persistence. It's a journey which makes you more resilient, because it's it's like you're in uncharted waters. So you start a PhD and you think this is the area you want to go into, and then every couple of months you realize कि नहीं अब इसका थोड़ा सा it's deviated this, now it's deviated that side. So I think there's a lot of resilience that you require. I think there are many highs and lows in this. Sometimes you feel where have you gotten yourself into, and then sometimes you think this is it, you don't want to go further. But then you also look at people who have succeeded, and then you think that if these people can do it, and most people do, then why can't you? So I think it's a journey which is interesting as well. It opens you up to a lot many facets of your own personality, which somehow you have not by that time realized. So all in all, I think it was a good experience. When you're going through the experience, you find it to be difficult, but when you reflect back on it, it's a good experience.
Definitely. So what was your PhD thesis about, and if you could talk to us about some of your significant researches and findings?
So my PhD thesis primarily was on the banking system of Pakistan, and the kind of changes they were bringing into the human resource management practices in the banking system, and the implications they had for the employee psychological contract. I did my PhD in 2007-8, and that was a time when there was a lot of privatization of banks going on. And State Bank had also sort of mandated all banks to reorient their HR, so to speak, to make the banks viable for privatization. So I think इनके ऊपर एक compulsion थी. But it was an interesting study, because I think at that time when I explored, it was very interesting that how change is although my PhD was not on change, but then there was this part in it, because change, human psyche says that whenever there's opportunity for change, and when there is change happening, there is resistance. And it was interesting to see that because I collected my data from 6 major banks in Pakistan, and the story was similar in almost all banks. There were some who had already made that transition, some were in that transition. So it was interesting to see that there's resistance, and the resistance, when people overcome the resistance, they are very they're very satisfied. But that tip where you have to overcome it, that's a difficult part.
That's not easy. Yes.
That's not easy. So I think my findings were from that study were that the banks in Pakistan had made a shift. It was primarily external driven shift, because it was not out of their own interest. It was a compulsion by a regulator. But then the employee psychological contract, there were very positive effects on that. And banks were finding it challenging. And I think it would be in any organization that you have an old guard, and then you have people with new ideas and a new system. So you've been training and telling people about something else for decades. They've been working for you, and then all of a sudden you say, no, we shift gears and now we're moving to this system. So it was interesting.
Okay. So since we're talking about HR, what do you think are some of the theories or practices that HR practitioners generally overlook, but they should really pay attention to in their fields?
I think the vary from time to time, because you see, it's all about the trend that is going on. So it's the push of whatever is happening in your environment. So there was a time when there was a lot of focus on somehow making organizations efficient at a cost eh, where the pressure was on the human resource for productivity, etc. So उस वक्त HR का focus, practitioners were also focusing on this, and they unfortunately there was less emphasis on employees, and what were they feeling about this. If I look about it, if I think about it right now and what is going on right now, I think the focus now has shifted on decision making, analytics, and decision making through analytics, right? But I think in that as well, there needs to be a cautious approach, because analytics is one part of it. We're not dealing with machines कि हमने उसकी productivity supersonic कर लेनी है. So it's people, right? The pressure is on people when you sort of reorient or you change your philosophy as a management of an organization to sort of to adjust with what is happening in the environment. जैसे आजकल AI की बात बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही है. So there's a lot of pressure on people that their jobs may go. There's a lot of pressure on people that only analytics and data tells you half the story, because here we're talking about people. Why is that data reflecting a story? So I think practitioners need to continue to focus on sort of correlating. जैसे होता है ना कि आप मेडिसिन में कहते हैं कि you've gone for tests, so there's the clinical report and they always say correlate with the doctor's opinion. So I think that's the kind of thing I'd say here, if I were to sort of build some sort of synonymity in that.
For our audiences, let me try to understand it further. So what you're saying is that generally what HR practitioners at this point are doing is that they're looking at data, but they're not looking at subjective underlying causes for certain behaviors or certain professional attitudes, whatever that they might be. So because humans are very subjective beings, we have a consciousness that makes decisions for us based on our experiences and our feelings and our overall journey of life. So those things, they impact us when we come to a decision. So basically what I'm trying to say is that data generally sometimes tells half the story and cannot be say the final verdict on someone or somebody.
I think data needs to be contextualized. Let me just put it that way. So you have to contextualize the data. And I think when there is a trend going on, there's a move, there's a shift going on, so sort of flow of your thought, of your actions goes in that direction. And somehow or the other, whether it's unintentional, you sort of, some things get ignored on the periphery. So I think in this case, there is a lot of focus जो आजकल है on data driven decision making, which is good, because decision making without data is also randomized decision making, or decision making on, some call it whimsical decision making. I think it's a strong word, but बहरहाल. So yeah, I think that consciously हमें थोड़ा साथ अपने focus उधर भी रखना चाहिए है कि we need to interpret the data.
Right. So if you were to design an HR for an organization from scratch basically, so what would be the first principle that you would go back to?
I tell the organization your people are first, because and this is not what I'm saying, this is generally a lot of successful multimillionaires sort of have continued to say over a period of time. So you have to invest in your people, and investment basically does not entail money only. It's just an individual invests emotionally. That's how organizations should also sort of develop a link at an emotional level with its employees. It connect hona chahiye, because that's what builds commitment.
Definitely.
So I think always keep the people first, because ultimately whatever your organization wants to achieve, whatever it is aiming to work towards, these are the people who have to do it for you.
Definitely.
So you can plan in a room, but you have to execute it through people. So it's got to be the people.
All right, so let's talk about your journey at NUST. So how did your journey at NUST begin, and how did you end up here, and how long has it been, and how has it been like for you?
So I started here in 2000. So this is just last week was 25th sort of year that I have been with NUST. It's been a quarter of a century, and I say that I was the age that I am today, I was half or less than half this age when I joined. So I've spent more time with NUST now than with any other maybe external organization or institution. Um, Honestly, when I came here, उस वक्त the business school had just started. It was in its 6th month, so it was just the first batch they had taken in. I had worked at for a short while at a financial consulting firm, and then I got bored because I just thought I can't do this for my life. That I keep looking at numbers and developing feasibility reports, so that's not me. So then I applied for different positions. Lekin I got into some banks, and when I was about to join a bank, somebody came and told me that this is an institution which has started, so it's a good university. लेकिन अभी उन्होंने अपना business school start किया. It's from scratch. So I just got a little double-minded, but then I thought that I'll explore this as well, because I talked to a couple of people. There were a lot of bankers in my own family. So they also told me that this is not you. You will not be able to sit behind a desk and do the same thing over and over again. LC खोलनी है तो LC खोलते रहो, account खोलना है तो account खोलते रहो. So this you'll get sort of it wouldn't align with your personality. So I came here. I thought I'd give it a chance, because it was a very early time in my career. So I thought I have some opportunity to explore here and there. I came here. This was a place which was sort of starting up. So there was a lot of commotion all the time. Ab ye ho gaya, now do this, now do that. So I always found that interesting, because there were a lot of different things that I had to do, and I was asked to do, and I was obviously very young at that age. So आप में बहुत ज़्यादा energy भी होती है, and whatever comes your way, you want to do that as well and explore it. So that's how I came here. And then, like I said, after a couple of years, when I decided that this is the profession I want to be in, so then I went for a PhD. But so NUST is home for me.
NUST is home for you.
Yes.
For our audiences, there's something that I forgot to mention in the introduction. We could say that Dr. Asfia is one of those people who have shaped NBS into what it is today, because she's one of those people who have joined it in the very early stages and has been with it throughout the journey. And your contributions, they're definitely they speak for themselves. So and on behalf of all Nustians and on behalf of your students, we'd like to thank you for those contributions. So how has that journey been like, in the sense that you saw the evolution of the business school, and what were certain things that you learned here? What were certain things that you think shaped you into who you are today?
Yes. So thank you for the gracious words. I think आपने बहुत बड़ी बात कह दी कि I shaped, but I think along with different colleagues at different stages, I have seen the institution shape and take its form into what it is today. So when I came, it was just one batch of BBA and one batch of MBA with less than 30 students, and there's one room and one lab, or we sort of joined there. So that is where it started from. I think that there are a lot many elements. When you put those elements together, you realize that for growth of institutions, there's some bit of stability that is essential in the growing stages, and then also in the maturity stage. When you're trying to consolidate things, I think on both ends you need some stability in your leadership. You also need to be flexible, because you cannot. Things evolve, institutions evolve, people evolve. So you have to be flexible, and you also always have to be in that learning mode. So institution, I think, grows when you sort of rely on your people to take it forward. तो आपको थोड़ा you have to let go of certain things so that people can carry them forward from there. I think that's a very difficult balance at times. और कभी कभी during the journey you get off balance as well, so it's not that you will always be able to maintain that balance. Off balance हो जाता है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि for me it has been a very it has been a very um, not just interesting but a rewarding journey as well in many ways. It's also because I've stuck here for all this time. उसमें आपको कई ऐसे टाइम भी आते हैं where you feel you're not being acknowledged, or you feel that maybe you will not grow, या आपके पास opportunities नहीं है, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, because that's what human beings are, that's how we are. तो वो जो sudden dip आता है उसमें हमें लगता है कि the world has sort of shaken. But overall I would say that if I have given 25 years of my life to this institution, it has returned each and everything, and especially the students, my colleagues. I am in touch with my colleagues since ever wali baat hai, jo jaate rahe. So I think that's the most rewarding part of being in an educational institution. आपके colleagues और आपके students. I meet my students. It is very rare that I travel internationally और मुझे कहीं पे कोई student ना मिले. मुझे I was traveling once, मुझे बीजिंग के एयरपोर्ट पे भी स्टूडेंट मिला. So out of nowhere, you meet students and then their successes sort of, हम थोड़े selfish हो जाते हैं as teachers, so we attribute their successes to us. So we feel very proud of that, and it's a very good feeling.
I think it's something that to be proud of, because you're shaping minds, you're shaping futures for those students, and it's a contribution that is even acknowledged by in our religion, because if someone teaches you something, we have to be indebted to them, and your students definitely acknowledge that they've learned from you, and I think that you should be proud of it. Let's talk about your if you have any other interests in life. Do you have any hobbies, any passion projects? What do you do when you are not being Dr. Asfia?
And I'm not being that. So when I'm not being that, I have a lot of interest, not since today, but I have a lot of interest in sort of foreign relations, और मुझे ऐसी चीज़ों में बहुत interest रहा है. तो I have I spend a lot of time listening to people talk about what's happening in the world, and over the years this has sort of become a norm in lot of in specifically in Pakistan. There's a lot of discussion on these things, so I always like to sort of read on different perspectives, listen to people nobody would want to listen to, because I think there's always something to listen to when someone is speaking. तो I don't necessarily feel कि मेरे से जिसका व्यू अलाइंड है मैंने उसी की बात सुननी है. मुझे लगता है कि I rather need to listen to people जिनके साथ मेरा व्यू अलाइंड नहीं है, to sort of understand maybe I'm wrong somewhere. So I think I spend a lot of time reading on such things, and then listening to different things. फिर documentaries मेरा बहुत interest है, documentaries के maybe, तो I sometimes sort of look at documentaries, and then seasons. वो भी बहुत एक must part है, that relaxes you. So that's something that I do in my free time. बाकी मुझे थोड़ा सा कभी कभी एक flair होता है जिसमें I like to bake and cook, and वो I'm good at that, but I just do it for a very short stint. So these are a couple of things that I do.
That's a diverse set of things that you do. Who do you think has had the most profound impact on your life?
अच्छा, ये एक बड़ा कन्वेंशनल सा क्वेश्चन है. मैं आपको ये बताती हूँ कि आई थिंक इन योर अर्ली लाइफ as an individual, or at least for my experience has been that there's no doubt about it. तो मैं उसको I wouldn't sort of reiterate that to an extent, लेकिन ज़ाहिर है आपके पेरेंट्स का बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस होता है. They bring you up, you look at them, and you sort of by looking at them you sort of adopt things that you think are appreciable, and the things that they do, and so they sort of develop you as a person, as a human being. So my inspiration obviously comes from my parents, the resilience that I see in them, and they've always appreciated. So they've always given me, my siblings, a lot of room to talk and speak. तो मैं आपसे ये जो कह रही थी कि मतलब when I was growing up, तो उस वक्त बहुत सारे households में it was not sort of a norm or a general practice that children could speak up. But my parents were very open. We could speak about anything with them. They never told us to do this or do that. And अब हम उनसे कई दफ़ा पूछते हैं कि we don't remember you explicitly saying it, but you said it in some way because we knew we didn't have to do this. हम पूछते ही नहीं थे आपसे कि ये करना है because we knew कि this is a no-go area. So how did you do that? तो वो कहते हैं maybe children have changed or parenting has changed, but yes. So my parents, and then now, you know, I realized that जितना जितना टाइम आपका ज़िंदगी में गुजरता है, यू रियलाइज दैट इंस्पिरेशन यू हैव टू ड्रॉ फ्रॉम स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग्स एंड फ्रॉम anybody and everybody on a daily basis, because that is something which keeps you going. तो मेरी इंस्पिरेशन किसी दिन मेरे एक स्टूडेंट की कोई बात होती है, किसी दिन मेरी इंस्पिरेशन, यू नो, हमारे पास इतने स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं एंड दे हैव a lot of them have very difficult journeys. So when you listen to where they have come from and how they have reached this place, and then you look at them grow and develop, there's a lot of inspiration. मेरे colleagues हैं, some of them work in very difficult circumstances. तो मेरी job है to be in contact with them, you know, on a daily basis. So I think inspiration आपको कहीं से भी मिल जाती है और किसी वक्त भी मिल जाती है. It's not something which is very exclusive कि आप कहें कि ये यहाँ से है, मगर yeah.
I heard someone say to me a few years ago. They said, "जिसकी जो बात अच्छी लगे वो ले लो उससे."
Exactly.
So I think generally we do have inspirations in life. For example, we look up to some people.
Yes.
However, as a rule of thumb, perhaps I would say that if you like something, you should adopt it, because you know if it aligns with your ethics, your morals, your values. So you could learn it from anyone. You could learn it from some stranger even on the road. You know. So I think that's the way to go about it. Let's talk about your legacy. What would you like to be remembered for?
Legacy again is a very big word, but
We all have a legacy. So
I think if I would at all like to be remembered by something, it would be that you know, it would be that here's a person we can go to who would listen. Here's a person who's not judgmental. Here's a person who you know, here's this person who is willing to sort of you know, who's willing to accommodate as well. So I think legacy जो आपकी होती है ना, बाद में वो आपकी success या आपके awards या आपके I don't know accomplishments ये चीज़ें नहीं होती. In the end, people will, because you remember those. Nobody else sitting will remember those for you, right? But I think what people remember is the interaction they've had with you. I for one like that, you know, I only remember a couple of instances, very few, maybe less than on the fingers of one of my hand, that where I had an altercation with anyone in all these years. जिसमें मेरी ज़रूरी नहीं कि it's all because of me, because there's a lot that you don't know, it's in your conscience, it's God given traits, abilities, और अल्लाह आपको हिदायत भी देता रहता है हर जगह. लेकिन to me, I think लेगेसी अगर आप चाहो तो आप ये चाहोगे कि कोई आपको ये कहे कि he's a good person we met in life. You know, that's I think all that one should.
I think that's a good goal to set for yourself, so that when you you know, people remember you, they would think that either this person was a good person, or you know, we learned something from them, or there's something that, you know, they look up to. Because I think that the impact that we create in people's lives, that's what matters the most, perhaps. Let's talk about something that we all deal with in our daily lives. How do you deal with anxiety and stress when you come across it?
अच्छा, मुझे कई दफ़ा लगता है कि टाइम नहीं मिलता एंग्जाइटी और स्ट्रेस के साथ करने को.
That's a very good tip. ऐसे इतने busy हो जाओ कि कोई टाइम ही ना मिले anxiety का, stress का.
Honestly, sometimes, you know, during COVID I realized that, you know, being busy is a blessing. और उसके बाद मैंने ये कहना छोड़ दिया कि I'm overworked, because I thought it was a blessing. क्योंकि जब आपके पास आपको लगता है ना कि you don't have anything left to do, or there's not much to do, so there's also this feeling which sets in that, you know, what next, and what आपकी existence जो है वो उसके लिए what is the reason for your existence. तो बट अगर मैं उसको कहूँ तो यस यू सी एंग्जाइटी स्ट्रेस इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ एंड आई थिंक वी डिड नॉट रियलाइज मेरी जनरेशन में पीपल डिड नॉट रियलाइज टिल मे बी पीपल वर इन द मिड 30s कि एंग्जाइटी और स्ट्रेस होता क्या है. Now children know, you know, and I'm amazed that even in primary schools they teach children what anxiety is, what stress is. So we had no idea what it was. हम उसी तरह के फ्लो में चलते थे. लेकिन मुझे लगता है एंग्जाइटी स्ट्रेस के साथ हाउ डू आई पर्सनली डील विद इट. आई ट्राई टू सॉर्ट ऑफ यू नो आई थिंक एन इवनिंग वॉक ऑन अ डेली बेसिस और इन द मॉर्निंग जो भी आपका एक लाइफस्टाइल है उसके हिसाब से, that's something important because a lot of negative energy and things that you're thinking about कि अब ये कैसे होगा वो, so वो उस flow में you know you sort of get rid of them. And like I said, I like watching seasons. तो फिर मैं अगर किसी वक्त कोई एक पिक कर लेती हूँ तो then I watch that. I also think that the third thing which is very important, I have a lot of you know मेरे nephews हैं, nieces हैं, so I spend a lot of time with them and I think kids are the best जिसको alternative therapy लोग कह सकते हैं because they're the best. When you spend time with kids they make you laugh and you forget what's happening. ऐसी छोटी silly चीज़ें करेंगे. So I think being around people will it always helps overcome
Definitely.
these things.
Generally it's said that if you want to see कि इंसान अपनी natural state में like how he should behave or how he should live their life, you should look at kids because how curious they are, how energetic they are,
Yes.
how carefree they are, and they generally don't have we do understand that you know these stressors, these anxieties, they come with life as we
Yes.
go about it. However, to deal with those situations, because children have their own stressors, you know, उनके अपने मसले होते हैं जो कि
बिल्कुल.
बचपन में होते हैं, but the way they deal with these things, because at a certain point they just don't care about it, you know, when they're playing or when they're doing activities. So I think that is one of those things that we could learn from kids as well.
बिल्कुल.
What is your method to focus on work to get things done?
I think to a certain point I think it is how well you are organized. But then ये जो organization वाली मैं इसको कहती हूँ कि जो organization वाली myth है, that the time is over for that myth. You have to be flexible because there's so many things happening and or may I'm not talking personally about you know my experience, but this is what I see at workplaces now. There are too many shifts, there are too many you know, so you don't have very clear trajectories कि आपने ये करना है या यहाँ जाना है वो करना है. So I think you plan for a day, that is what you should do. That's what I do. I plan for a day, but then I also have my plan B's and C's, which I know almost are the ones that I daily work on. It's always the plan B or C, never get to work on plan A. But ये है कि थोड़ा I am organized and I have you know I try my level best कि मेरी deadlines जो हैं उनको मैं meet करूँ. And there's one more thing, what I cannot do, I am very clear about that. मैंने at one point in my life I learned this, that rather than take on too many things and then not be able to deliver, you should have the courage to say to your boss कि ये नहीं हो सकता, you know, I can't do it, it's not possible for me, you know. So this is something that I practice. अगर कोई चीज़ होती है तो उसमें मैं कह देती हूँ, you know, right now ये नहीं होगा, या if you want it in this timeline तो difficult है, timeline extend करनी पड़ेगी. So yeah, I think is something which is important. Sometimes you know we don't speak up and we take too many things, which then are humanly not possible for an individual
Exactly.
to manage.
And I think it's better to be honest with your, because I think that if you're being honest with your boss about your timelines and your deadlines, then you're also being honest to your work, because you're not setting unrealistic expectations, and then when you deliver that work in the time that you promised, that I think would be of much better quality than what you would have, you know, otherwise been able to do.
And I'd like to add one more thing कि मेरे experience में ये भी है कि you know sometimes we think that we can do it all वाली बात है, not because of any ego issue या कोई ऐसा नहीं होता, but you just think, you know, I think that we need to understand कि जैसे मैं अभी बात कहती थी, you have to let go ना, तो you need to develop teams, you need to have people, आप कुछ चीज़ें नीचे दें, लोग भी डेवलप हो जाते हैं, कुछ आपकी भी सपोर्ट हो जाती है. एंड आई थिंक फॉर टीम बिल्डिंग दिस इज एसेंशियल, बिकॉज व्हेन यू sort of when things flow downwards, people also realize what you're going through.
Hmm.
तो आपकी टीम को भी पता होता है कि what this all entails, what a day entails.
Exactly.
So I think it's good for building your team as well.
Definitely. Generally, in your opinion, and this is something that I would rather have you reflect, your own experiences with. What do you think are the top 3 traits that are required for a person to be successful?
अच्छा, trait, I think I'll come towards the trait in a moment, but I think पहले तो आपको success define करनी है अपने लिए. Success has or carries different meaning for different people.
Definitely.
कुछ लोगों के लिए success is an upward trajectory and journey. For some people, success is, like I said, success is where you're moving upwards as well. लेकिन that's not your focus. Your focus is that you want to go up, but you also want to sort of ensure that whatever it is that you're doing, it carries some value and meaning for you. So you don't, so in any case, कुछ के लिए success financial terms में होती है, कुछ के लिए designations, positions होती है, कुछ के लिए combination होता है. I think first of all it is important कि आप अपने लिए success को define करें. What is success to you? If success means that you want to, जैसे आपने कहा, leave a legacy, that you were very successful, you brought a turnaround in an organization, आपने ये कर लिया वो कर लिया, या success means कि people remember you with a good name, so then I think, लेकिन traits मुझे लगता है कि अगर मैं अपने experience के ऊपर नहीं only, but observation of other people who've been successful, I think there's a lot of humility in people who are successful people. There's humility, there's hard work. I have not seen a person who's been successful, क्योंकि success is not a temporary thing ना. मैं तो success को कहूँगी कि अगर मैं success की बात कर रही हूँ तो मैं कहूँगी कि then there's some stability in success for at least a significant time. फिर उसके बाद ज़ाहिर है चीज़ें बदलती रहती हैं, लेकिन I think आप में humility होनी चाहिए. You must also have you need to be open minded. Like होता है ना कि if you start thinking that your perspective is the perspective, or if you are unwilling to understand or listen to what others have to say, so you make mistakes. So I think the success के लिए 2-3 चीज़ें जो हैं वो, to me it is humility, which is very important. It is hard work. You cannot have successful people without hard work. ये शायद कोई 1 in a million हो जिसको lucky stars की वजह से वो हो जाए, but ऐसा नहीं होता. You have to put in hard work, and I think it is about learning. You must always have an open mind. You need to learn, you need to evolve. It cannot work without evolving. So I think these 3 things, and the 4th thing which I think is key and important and maybe foremost in all of this, is that we need to understand that we cannot succeed alone. Success will come with other people.
Definitely.
मुझे ऐसे लगता है एज अ नेशन हमें, अब कई दफ़ा मुझे ऐसे लगता है एक जनरल ब्लैंकेट स्टेटमेंट है, मगर मुझे ऐसे लगता है एज अ नेशन हमें ये वी फील दैट if somebody else succeeds, I will not be able to succeed. Success is not in solitary confinement. That is no success. Success has to be shared with people, and you succeed because of people. So you have to have the heart to take people with you and share your success with people. लोग नहीं करना चाहते हैं, वो कहते हैं अगर हम हैं ना तो फिर अपनी information छुपा लें, अपनी ये चीज़ें छुपा लें, अपना ये ना दें. This is not how you succeed in life. You succeed by giving, and that's how you get from it, as well.
You mentioned earlier that Nust is home for you. So what sets Nust apart in your opinion, and why do you choose Nust every day? Why have you chosen Nust for the past 25 years every single day?
So what sets Nust apart? I think a lot of people already know now what sets Nust apart, because Nust is not a very old institution and has progressed and achieved a lot. And I'm not just rating progress and achievement in terms of, हम कभी कहते हैं कि research की terms में, कभी patents की terms में, कभी programs की terms में. मेरे ख्याल में Nust की जो एक बहुत बहुत बड़ी achievement है. A lot of universities now talk about it, but NUST has always, since day one, this is what I've been hearing, NUST has tried to bring in students from different segments of society for the uplift of society. कभी consciously किया होगा and maybe sometimes unconsciously भी किया होगा, क्योंकि a lot of things people sometimes do unconsciously, right? लेकिन एक हमेशा से एक डिसीजन रहा कि हम ऐसा कुछ करें कि स्टूडेंट वेलफेयर के पर्सपेक्टिव से, कि हमारी फ़ी, हमारी जो हमारे कंपेटिटर्स हैं, वी लुक एट आवर कंपेटिटर्स एंड द फैसिलिटीज़ दे गिव, and at the cost they are giving the facilities, we're still not there, right? But in terms of quality, we're way above them. So I think NUST has grown. NUST is distinctive because it has in different eras evolved as well. I have seen NUST evolve from a purely science university and engineering university and that mindset to a university which now is aware of and understands and is building a lot of appreciation for diversity in its student body, diversity in its programs, diversity in all different spheres. So I think this is what sets NUST apart. There's a lot more that can be done. और मैं वो भी कहती हूँ जब मुझे होता है कि I say, because to me NUST is like home. So you want to improve your home, you want to make your home more strong, better in a lot many ways. Why do I come here every day? मैंने आपको कहा उसमें से कुछ दिन ऐसे होते हैं where you don't want to come. So it's not always that you want to come. So there are some days you don't want to come. लेकिन the days that you don't want to come, then पहले आप ungrateful human being बनते हैं और उसके बाद you start thinking there's a lot more that has come your way rather than the other thing. And then I think हमारे लिए students की, जब आप students के साथ करते हैं ना, तो I always say that there are a lot many monotonous things that I have to do in my administrative responsibility. वो मैं सिर्फ इसलिए manage करती हूँ because when I go to the classroom, the students are, and I come back from, I'm fresh. And I teach because I think that if I didn't teach, I couldn't do this. तो मुझे लगता है कि आपको, जैसे मैंने कहा ना, you look at small inspirations. So when you get ungrateful someday and you say कि ये हो गया या वो हो गया, तो then you sort of the moment you enter वाली बात होती है. मेरे साथ अक्सर ऐसा होता है, या शायद मैं consciously सोचती हूँ कि जिस दिन मैं ungrateful होती हूँ, तो the moment I enter, मुझे कहीं से कोई greet करेगा जो यहाँ 10-15 सालों से कोई काम करे, किसी और स्कूल में काम कर रहे हैं, बहुत अच्छी तरह मिलेगा. And I think, why am I being ungrateful? Here's this person who I've met after such a long time. या कोई student आपको मिल जाता है, या कोई colleague. So and they sort of say a very small little thing to you and you realize how ungrateful you're being. और आप मेरे लिए मुझे लगता है कि अगर इंसान हमेशा एक ही source की तरफ देखता रहे ना for recognition, so that's wrong. Recognition can come from a lot many spaces and places.
Definitely.
So it's not that you should always look upwards to see whether your work is being recognized or not. ऊपर से भी होता है, लेकिन हर रोज तो कोई आपको ऊपर से एक recognition की dose नहीं दे सकता. So you have to sort of keep propelling yourself as well.
Right. Dr. Asfiya, it has been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. And definitely, I'm sure that a lot of your students who look up to you, who have, you've been mentored to, they would find this episode very, amusing, because they'd also learn a lot about you, your life, and your experiences. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Heather. It has been a pleasure. I would also take this opportunity to thank all the hundreds and thousands of students that I have come across in these 25 years who've helped me to be where I am, to feel how I feel about them and about the institution. I would like to also thank all the mentors that I've had in my career, because when I joined, मुझे बहुत सारे लोगों ने कहा, where are you going, and then when I joined predominantly male dominated थी university भी और सब कुछ, मुझे तो हमेशा हर जगह से support मिली. वो इसलिए भी मिली कि I also did my work. It was not just support, but I think I did too many of them, but I want to thank each and every one of them. And obviously my family, because there are a lot of long nights and long days and evenings that I spend here, and the only thing that they do is they remain a little quiet. And that is when I realized it's been too many late days. So then the next day is an early day back home. So I'd like to thank each and every one of them. Thank you so much.